Hey guys, I want to welcome you to the tutorial for Barley's Beans website. Barley's Beans was built on the Weebly platform, so it's a really great user-friendly interface. Once we kind of dive into this, you'll see how simple it is to make updates and changes, and how simple it is to manage your cart and your store and all the products that are in there. So let's go ahead and get started. What you're going to do in order to log in, you should have gotten an email from me that'll have your username and password in it. And what you're going to actually do is log in barleysbeans.com but / login. So it'll look like this. Once you type that in, it's going to bring you to the login page. It'll look just like this, have my logo on it. And what you're going to do is input your email address, which is barleysbeans@gmail.com, and then the password that you had in your email again. And once you log in, it'll actually come to, it'll either show up on this screen or it may show up on your account screen. And basically, if you want to change your password or any of that information on the account screen, you can. Under My Site, it'll actually give you some statistics of your page views. Now, it's not going to be nearly as in-depth as Google Analytics, which we're going to get you set up on, but it'll at least kind of give you a short overview of how many people have been looking at it. The other thing is unique visitors. It'll actually show you, okay, on the 9th you had 14 unique visitors, which means that 14 different addresses signed on. Okay. Now, what you're going to do when you want to log in, you just go up here to where it says Edit Site. We'll click on there, and it'll take it just a second to load your website. Now, as this is coming up, you can see it'll look exactly like your regular website. That's one great thing is as you're editing the site, what you see is what you get. Weebly's really great because we're able to build all these custom websites and do all the custom coding, which is kind of a migraine. Put it all together for you, but then we put it on their interface so that it makes it really user friendly and easy for you guys to update. Now, you'll notice over here on the left-hand side, basically, these are all your different elements that you can put within your web page. You can kind of imagine Weebly being like a puzzle or, like I was trying to think of one of the games, Tetris, where you're just lining up the different blocks to kind of position them where you want them to go. You'll notice that as I scroll over these items here on the page, a little blue bar appears all the way around it, and also the little X. The reason why is this is one of the elements that we've dragged over from the left-hand side, and we've just dumped it within the page. And if we wanted to delete this element, we could actually click on the red X and it's going to delete it. Okay? These are actually just photo elements. So we'll kind of go over and I'll show you an example of the different items on the left. And this is going to work anywhere within the web page, any of the pages that you're working on. Okay, so the first one is obviously title. You have text, image, and gallery, and you can see, kind of play around with it. There's a lot of different options over here that you can add to your web page. But if we wanted to add some text, let's say that it was kind of a little welcome message. You'll notice that when I click on the text, I just hold down my left mouse button and I'll drag it over. And as I drag it, it'll do a blue box over this image, and I'll show you that here in just a little bit why it does that. But for now, you'll notice that everywhere that I drag, a little blue line appears. Whether it's underneath this image, it's in between these two. What happens with that is if I let go of text, I'm going to drag it down here so it's underneath all three images. But when I let go of it, it automatically formats the page and puts that text box in here. Now what I can do, you can either click right inside and it's going to pop up with bold, italic, underline. You can increase, decrease the font size. You can change your color to a predefined, or you can completely customize it just with these sliders. You can change the formatting, or if you have some text that you want to create a link to, I'll show you that in just a moment. The other great thing is if I've typed up something in a Word document, I'll actually steal some words off of the screen over on my other one here. And if I want to paste it in, I just right click and paste in, and it's going to dump that text in from a Word document or whatever that you've done. Now the great thing is what we're talking about with the links. If you have a write-up and it's talking about, Barley's beans and some of the coffees that you offer, if you want to have one of these words be a quick link to somewhere within the page, you can actually just highlight the word, you hit on the link button, and it'll pop up so that if you want to take them off of your web page, you can put in a URL like google.com or Facebook, something like that. But if you wanted to take them within your own page, if it was a product, you can actually click on Store Page, and you can take them to the storefront, a specific category, or you can actually open up a specific product from your drop down and pick one of your products. If you want it to just go within one of the pages, like About Us or something like that, you click on Standard Page, and from the drop down, you would just select whatever page that you wanted to go under. Okay? All right. So that's the word. If we wanted to add an image, we just come over here, click on Image, and again, everywhere that I highlight and it turns blue is where it's going to dump that image. If I wanted to put a fourth icon up here within all of these elements, I'd let go of it, and it's going to automatically format these boxes all the way across, okay? But since we're not going to put it in there, I'll go ahead and delete it, and it'll reformat the page back to the way it used to be. Okay, so if I wanted an image, like if I wanted to do an article and I wanted this image to be inside of the wording so that the words went around it, that's where that blue box appears. So if I dump it while it has the blue box, it's going to automatically format and put a picture in there. And we'll dump in, let's just say this roasting photo. It'll automatically update it, upload it, and I can resize it just by clicking on it and dragging. You can also edit the image, and you can go in and you can create the image as a link. You can play around with all these settings. You can check with the spacing, you can add borders. There's a lot of other options on there that I think you'll figure out on your own. Now you'll notice though that as if I move this image, it's going to format the text no matter where I place the image at. It'll format around it. Okay? So we'll go ahead and delete these elements, and we'll move on to some of the others. If we want to do a gallery, like a photo gallery on, say, a photo page, you just click, drag, dump gallery down, and it'll say upload image. So you just click on here, and just like any email attachment, anything like that, you can upload as many photos as you want. For now, we'll just upload the 3. All right, and once these are uploaded, you now have your gallery element, but you can edit this. So if you want it to have 4 columns, 5 columns, if you only want it to have 2 of them, you can take it back down to 2 and have 2 large images. You can do your spacing, your captions, or you can go into advanced settings and work on borders and the image ratio, whether it's rectangular or squared. Just depends on how you want to do it. All right. Also, slideshow works the exact same way, except what it's going to do is actually be a scrolling slideshow. So you can have thumbnails if you want. This will just give you an option for the different styles. So we'll go ahead and we'll just select, the same 3 photos. And what's a little bit different about these is once they load, you can just edit the captions right here directly, or if you want to make this image become a link that when somebody clicks on it goes within the page, it works the exact same way as the text that we already covered a minute ago. All right, we'll hit save. And now what we'll want to do is just go into the settings, and you can go into your navigation. You can change the navigation to button styles. If you want to have, just like down here, it has the little preview buttons. Transitions, you can change from a mosaic, slide, fade, whatever you want to do. You can kind of play around with that. You can also add captions to the images, change the speed. And if you want it to have an automatic play so that it, you don't have to hit the play button, just go into advanced and select autoplay. And it'll automatically start scrolling through all the different images on there. Okay? All right, go to the next one. Now map is, if you had a map location, or let's say if you guys start selling in the future to retail locations, we can actually create a retail page, which we're going to go over pages in a minute, and then you could dump in maps. This is already a Google map that's, kind of predefined in there. You just dump it in, and it'll format itself to the width of, whether you have it here, if you have it in between images, it'll automatically format to that size as well, things like that. But you can, once you go into the map, and these again are some things that you can play around with. When you go inside of map, you can change the height, direction. You change your address to wherever the location is. Uh, you know, different little settings that you can go in there and kind of discover yourself. But they're all very self-explanatory. That's why I'm not really going into a lot of detail with it. All right, for some reason this one reformatted itself. So but it's a good example. Anytime that you have a lot of elements side by side, and you notice that these little divider bars are in the center, best thing to do is you just hold down your shift key and then click on that divider bar, and you can drag it over, and it'll reformat everything back to the size that it should be. There we go. And now we're back to the normal sizes. Okay, so we'll jump ahead with a contact form. So if you want to, and we'll go ahead to the Contact Us page, just that way I can show you kind of more detail on it. In the Contact Us page, what you have is a contact form element that was just clicked and dragged and dumped over. But what's cool about it is when you actually click on it, other options pop up. So if you wanted to, require a phone number, which we already have in there, but if you wanted to add an address, you could just click and drag address over, dump it right in. It's going to add that element to it. And anything with the red asterisk means that it's required. So if you didn't want to make it a requirement, all you have to do is click on that individual element, deselect required. And you can change what the actual field title is. This one is address. But every setting, every option that you put within your contact form, all are just like any element within the page. They all have their own individual settings. So this is just a large text box, which you can see up here. You can change what it says, questions or comments, make it required or not. You can also add instructions to any of these areas. So if I click on instructions, and if I typed in, please leave us a quick message or comment, it would actually pop up whenever somebody scrolls over. It would pop up a little yellow pop-up that would give that message that you were instructing. Okay. Now under form options, you can see that we already put in your email address, but you can change this to say whatever you want. So if you have multiple contact forms, you wouldn't want it to just say website contact form. It'd be whatever title that you want it to be. And what it's going to do is when it emails it directly to you in Gmail, it'll say in the subject line that it's a website contact form submission. Excuse me. All right, and then you can also add your own message. So if you want to say, thank you, your information has been submitted, or if you want to put a quick link to take them back somewhere else within the page, all those options are there. Okay, and then we just hit save. All right, the next thing is we'll go over the blog. These are all, before I jump onto that, you can see that all these are pretty self-explanatory. The only other ones that are really important is the videos and some of the files. If you want to just put in a YouTube video, which is what I suggest, is that anytime you do a video, go ahead and upload it to YouTube, simply because the search engines really like anything that you would have for Barley's Beans. If it's on a YouTube video, YouTube is operated by Google, so that's going to help you get higher in the search engines for coffee and for Barley's Beans. Okay, so YouTube element, all you'd have to do is just click and drag it anywhere, any page that you wanted it to be on, and it'll actually automatically put that YouTube video in. You just click on it and put in your URL, and then they can sit there and play the video directly off of your screen. Now you can upload, even if you don't upload it to YouTube, You can do your own HD video, but I always suggest going with YouTube simply because a video is a lot of bandwidth, and if it's pulling the information from YouTube, it's not going to bog down the speed of your website and take a long time to load. Okay? All right. The other one that's really important is file and document. If you want to have a PDF or a Word document or a submission form, something like that that you want people to be able to download, you can click on File, drop it right in. You click on this and then just upload a Word file. So if we wanted, who we are, if we wanted that to be a downloadable form, you can see now that anybody could just simply click on download file and it's going to download whatever forms you've put on there. Okay. If you actually want the form to be open so people can view a large PDF or a file, Excel spreadsheet, whatever the case is, you can click on document, drag it over and dump it. And then once it loads, all you have to do is just click on it, upload the file again. It'll take it just a minute, but it'll actually upload the file and make it so that people can view it on your website without, having to download the file itself. Okay. That's going to take just a minute to convert since it's going through this system. And there we are. Now somebody could actually sit here and scroll through, zoom in, and even print it off if they wanted to. Okay. So I think we kind of covered all of the building elements really well. You can play around with them. All of them are pretty self-explanatory. Dividers are just divider bars. Spacers is actually literally a space. So if you want to have some space in the page, you can actually click on here and make your space larger, smaller. And anytime you want to delete an element, just click the red X. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and dive onto pages, and then we'll go onto the store and kind of show you guys. The store obviously is one of your most important elements, so we'll try to get quickly over to it. Under pages, this is how you literally build each of your page for the website. You can see each of these pages are page items that are all the way across. Newsletter sign up is a page that's going to be, for your newsletter link that was on the home page, the sign up for Barleys News. That's a page that technically you can't access from the menu because I've created it as a hidden page, and we'll kind of show you how that works. Once you go to the page itself, you can see it's a hidden page, but I've selected it up here to be hide in navigation. Okay, but we'll go over that in just a second. If we go under pages, if we wanted to add a new page to the website, all we have to do is hit the little plus sign, and it could be either a product page with a specific product. You could create another blog if you want, or a standard page. Oh, and I just realized we didn't go over the blog section, so we'll do that in just a moment too. Sorry to kind of jump around here. But when we go to create a page, it automatically does index, and you don't want index. You want to go ahead and go to no header. Now you can add a header if you want to, but the rest of the page is formatted as no header. So you would just do a no header, and if you didn't want it to appear on the main menu bar up here, you would just click on hide in navigation, and you can see it's no longer on the main menu. And then you just type in the name of whatever the page is, hit save. It's going to add it to your list, and when you're ready to add elements to it, you just go back to your build, and then you can sit here and click and drag all of your elements in that we already discussed. Photos, images, all that. Okay, so if we want to delete this page, we no longer need it. All we'd have to do is click on it, and you can delete it. Now if you had a page and you wanted to copy everything that was on that page, all the elements, you can actually hit copy, and it'll copy everything that's in that page. Okay, and that way you can create a second page if you wanted to copy some of the same elements. Okay, all right, we're going to hit delete and get rid of that. Okay, so one other little thing that made me remember was, if you have this image, let's say that you wanted this photo that says Shop Our Coffees to also appear on the About Us page for some reason. You can actually click on this arrow and you can move it to a different page, or you can click on copy and we'll go to About Us and it automatically dump it inside of that page. And obviously it's pretty huge because it's expanding all the way across. Okay. All right, before we forget, let's go ahead and let's talk about the blog. The blog basically works the exact same way, bringing in all the elements as it did on the build tab, okay? We'll click back on build so the elements are back up here. But you notice that now that we're inside the blog, there's actually other elements that popped up here. You can add a Flickr badge, a LinkedIn button, your blog archives, which is what this category is. You can also have a blog feed. You know, there's a lot of different options that you can kind of play around with. But let's say if we wanted to create a new blog, okay? All we'd have to do is go down here to the bottom right where it says New Post. Click on New Post. We would punch in the title. We'll say, Test February. And then you can see that down here we can actually create it as an article. So let's say if I had a lot of text to put in, and the blog is really handy, obviously for updates and specials, things like that, but it also helps you in the search engines to keep doing blogs, because what you do is you share your URL once it's posted to Facebook, and that's a direct link to go right back to your website. Okay, so we would dump in the text, we can drag in images, all the exact same thing, just like the regular page that we were going over earlier. And that automatically format it, we can resize it, all the same information, okay? If we want to edit anything in here, we just click inside of it and the options are going to pop up just the same as any other text field that you're working on. Okay, so if we were done with this post, we can either do the drop down up here and save it as a draft. We can get rid of it, discard the draft. We can save it. Even if we don't want to post it, we just want to temporarily save it. But instead, I'm going to go ahead and post it. It'll give me that URL. So if I click on it, it's going to take me directly to the URL of this blog post. This is where you would copy and paste it in social media. Okay, get rid of that. But you can see now in the archive, it automatically added the February 2016 date. Now, if I wanted to delete any of these blogs, you can simply click on, February or August, or you can just look down your list because it's going to stack them. Click on this actual post, and then you can delete it. Delete post. Are you sure you want to delete it? Yes, I do. And now that post no longer exists. This was just a HD video element, which is obviously, again, some of the stuff that you can add just by coming down here. You can add the YouTube, but this was an HD video element. Okay. All right. Now, if you want to add, if you want to edit any of the options that are in here, you can actually have comments and allow people to leave comments, and you can look over them, and you can approve them or delete them if you don't want any on there. Or you can change your settings, and under blog settings you can actually require approval for somebody to be able to add on there. They can do a smart captcha in order to make a post. You can kind of play around with this. Again, it's all self-explanatory, and I'll let you kind of figure that out on your own. But obviously you can always call me if you get hung up on anything. Okay, so if I click back in the blog, there's also post options over here on the bottom left. So I can actually go in and I can leave the comments open, or I can say requires approval, or the comments are closed. So nobody can actually be a part of that. If we want to add categories so that this actually falls under, instead of just having an archive of the month, if you actually wanted to have different categories within your blog, you can easily add that. Okay. So I think we've kind of covered everything, and your ears are probably burning by now. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to dive into the store. The store is a really cool function on this website. It's all integrated, so you don't have to log in anywhere else. You can manage everything for your store directly from signing into your web page. Okay. So we're going to click on Store, and this is how you're going to access to add products or view any of the information on there. Okay, technically, when you log in, it'll give you the dashboard and kind of show you how many sales and orders, things like that. If we want to add a product, we just simply click on Products, and right now we only have 3 in here. But if we had a CSV, list, we can actually import products that way. But probably how you guys are going to do it is just simply by clicking on Add Product, and it's going to pop up and give you the option. You'd put in your title of whatever the product is, Mocha Cafe, whatever the case is. You could type in your short description of whatever the detailed information is about it. It's a physical good, so we'll leave that alone. And again, all of the options to edit your text are the same as anywhere else on the web page. Now, what we can do under the price, if you want something to look like it's on sale, even if it's not, this is an optional thing. But let's say that we're selling it for $18. What we could actually do is we could put in the original price used to be $20, even if it wasn't, and we can say $18, and you'll see once we post this item, it'll make it look like it's on sale. If you had SKU numbers, you could put that in. It can be optional if you want to add the weight in there. You can put 7 ounces, whatever you want to do. Okay, now the other option is when you add your images. You can add as many images as you want, so you could add all of these images, or you can just add 2 of them. Upload the photos, and it's automatically going to resize them for you. And once we show off this product, you'll get a little bit better idea of how it's going to look on your visitor's end. Now, if you want to track inventory, you guys probably won't be doing that because I know you're going to be grinding kind of on demand. But let's say that you wanted to track inventory, you can actually check mark this, and you can say, you know what, we've got 25 of these items available. What it'll do is as people are buying them on the website, it'll obviously decrease in how many are available. Okay? So we'll just unselect that. If we need to charge sales tax, I'm not sure if you guys are incorporating that in your overall cost or if that's something that we need to add. But if you want to add it, you just simply click on Charge Sales Tax. And I'm going to show you in a minute where you put in your sales tax information. But for now, you can just select that. Okay, so if we wanted to add options, like right now, all it is just the images and the price. But obviously, we want to add sizes and we want to add your grinds. This is where the multiple options pop in. We're going to click on Add Options, and you can do a drop down, you can do buttons, you can do text input, you can select any of your input type. For now, we're just going to do a drop down list, and we're going to say size. That's what we're going to call it, is size. And then under your option choices, you just need to, once you type it in, you make sure to put a comma behind it to separate the choice. So we'll say, a 12 ounce. You can hit return or do a comma, either one. We'll do a 20 ounce, comma. Okay, and we're going to hit save. Now what it'll do is it'll automatically put in those different variations that you had punched in. And that works the same way. If you guys sell t-shirts in the future, you could do your options as small, medium, large, extra large, put in your price, and then you can put in the quantities if you're tracking the inventory. Okay. Now these, you can edit any of these simply by just clicking on the price. You can make that price $12 instead of $20 originally. And it's on discount for $10 if you want to even do a discount. Okay. And if we want to add another option, we already have size in there, but let's say we want to add grind. We're going to hit Add Option. We'll do grind. We'll do whole bean and ground and save. Okay. And now you can see you can put in your quantities. It automatically put in 2 options for 12 ounce whole bean and ground. So that's where you can kind of track your prices if there is a difference between the two. Okay. Now, show in storefront. Your storefront is technically, we're going to jump on the actual live website. The coffee shop is technically, you can see your storefront, and it's already added that option of the item that we've dumped in there. Okay. This is your storefront. You can either have a storefront or you can set it up as categories, and we'll go over that in just a second. Okay, so let's save the product. And now that product is on my product list along with all the other options. If I want to unpublish it, delete it, or duplicate it, you can click on this little cog wheel on the side and do that. And obviously we're going to delete it. Okay, so we'll take a look at the Columbia, and we'll take a look at how I've set it up. You can see all the information's in there, the same thing as we went over. You would just have to select sales tax and track inventory if it's something that you want. Okay. All right. Now your storefront, you can either do a storefront, which you obviously saw a minute ago that this was your storefront. Okay. But what we would do with storefront is we would actually, you can set it up by individual products, or if you want to do it as categories, you can do it that way as well. So if we want to add more products, if we had more than 3, you would just click select products and check mark all of them to add it to your storefront. Okay, categories is something that we have not set up yet, but in the future, let's say that if you wanted to separate whole bean and ground, you could actually add those categories. You can put an image for the category if you want and just punch in the name of the category. And then what will happen is automatically on all of these products, when you're putting in new products, it'll give you the option to add a category on there so that that's one of its attributes. Okay. All right, the next cool thing is coupons. Coupons is really great because you guys can send out your coupon codes through email, or if you want to do a Facebook blast and say, okay, we're giving away the next 50 people who order online are going to get free shipping. Or if you want to say, okay, anybody who orders this specific product, put in the coupon code 20% off and you're going to get 20% off your order. Whatever the case is. We'll add a coupon and we'll put in the code. We'll say off 20. Okay? We can make it an unlimited number, or if you only want 10 people to be able to use that coupon code on one given day, you can say there's only 10 available. And and you can either have it so the coupon code never expires. So if they're a regular and you offer your regulars 10% off at all times, they can just put in that coupon code. But we're going to deselect never expires, and we're going to make it so that it only lasts today only, and only 10 people can have it. Or obviously, like we said, we can make it unlimited, and you can say on Facebook, hey, anybody who orders today is going to get 20% off of their order by putting in the code off 20. All right. Now down here, you can change your criteria. It can either be a percentage off, and you can put your 20% on all orders. You can have orders over a certain amount of money, specific categories, or even specific products. So if we want it to be specifically, the Columbia, we would just select it, and automatically it'll post that in there. We'll delete that. If we want to make it a dollar amount off, we can say, okay, $5 off your next amount. And again, it can be specific products, all orders, anything over a certain amount, whatever the case is. You can also offer free shipping. So we can say free shipping on anything that's for, the priority mail, anything that's $37 up to $500, which we're going to go over that setting in a minute. You can do that on all orders. If they put on a coupon code, you could say, free ship would be your coupon code. And you can do it on orders over a certain amount. If you want to do anything over $50, if they put in the coupon code free ship, then you just hit save coupon, and it's going to add that coupon to your list. Kind of helps if I select all the options. That's the only reason it wasn't saving, but we'll ignore that. Okay, so coupons I think you have a handle on. Obviously, when you sign in, um, it's always going to send you an email notification anytime somebody orders online. But if you log into the website itself, you can come hit store, go to orders, and this is where you can actually process the orders. It'll give it a generic order number, the date it was ordered, the customer's name, and all of their information. The status, which we'll go over, you'll see once you start getting some orders, you'll see that you can make your status either that it was fulfilled and you've already shipped it, or that it's still being ready to be processed, and then it'll give you a total dollar amount as well. Okay. All right, so the very last thing is store settings, and under store settings there's quite a bit of information here that we'll go over. Obviously you can change your weight to pound imperial, which is what we are. You can have an add to cart or a buy now option, but obviously we're using add to cart on the store. Put in all of your company information, which you can change. This is where you'd want to type in your return policies and your shipping policies. And if you want to have a allow note to seller so that customers can leave in a special message during checkout, like if they want it to be gift wrapped or something special, that would give them the option to send you guys a special note. Okay. All right. Checkout is very important. We've already set up PayPal to be linked with checkout, but they give you the option of either Stripe, Square, or Authorize.net. Now, when I tried to put in your information for Square, it told me it was the wrong username password combination, so you guys will want to set this up. But all you have to do is just click on Enable, and it's going to pop up and ask for the username password for Square. You'll hit Sign In, and it's going to automatically set up and link everything onto the page. That way, when somebody actually checks out, it's going to pop up and accept credit cards, but give the option that if somebody wants to check out with PayPal, they can. But obviously Square is the way to go because they're not going to leave your website. They're going to stay right there. Okay, so you'll want to make sure to do that after you check out this video. All right, under display, you can set up your columns for the products per page. So if you've got, you can have 36 products on there. You can have up to 72, however you want to do. Same thing with the product images. If you want them to be a 1x1, a 4x3, you can change that. Category image is the same way. Right now we just have it set up as the blocks. So if we want to check out the featured products on the storefront, we've got them set up as a block, but if you want, you can do it as a sidebar as well. Okay. Now shipping, I've already set up shipping for you, but this is where you'll want to know how to do, create new shipping rates and things. For now, what I did was I put USPS priority mail is $7 up until $36. Over $36 is obviously going to be people who have ordered, 4 bags of coffee or more. At that point, $37 and above, I just put it up to 500 generically, but that'll offer free shipping, so it's not going to charge them anything. So if I wanted to add a rate in here, I just click on Add Rate. You would type in whether it's USPS, FedEx, 3-day, etc., just like they said. You put in your shipping price, and if you want to put in a weight amount, you can do that as well. If you want to say a specific weight offers 3-day shipping or free shipping, whatever. You put in your attribute of the price, and you can actually edit subregions if you want to. So you can add all of your different rates for different locations. So if a different state requires, it to be $3 more than what you could do in North Carolina, this is where you would actually go in to increase that, okay? All right, then you just hit on Save Settings, and that's going to take care of all those settings that you've put in there. Under taxes, which is what we were talking about earlier, right now we currently just have North Carolina tax put in there, 4.75. But if we want to add another zip code, which we would add, say, Sneads Ferry or even Surf City, they're all the same. We punch in that zip code, 28445. We're going to hit save, and that's going to automatically put in Holly Ridge at the 2.25% rate that they charge. So now if you're selling it locally, it's going to be 7% because of the North Carolina tax and the local tax. Okay? And you can add as many tax attributes as you need to, and it'll automatically pull from the zip code that somebody's putting in there. But normally on online orders, it's easier just to kind of roll your local taxes into the price. Just makes it a little bit more user friendly and easier for the person who's buying the products. Okay, now emails, you can actually set up so that you can have an order confirmation email. Thank you for your order, and you can edit this to look however you want it to look. Okay. All right. And that works the same way with download confirmation, shipping email, refunding email, any of these things. They can be automatically emails for folks. Under advanced settings, this is where we're going to put in the Google Analytics tracking ID. I'll take care of that once we set up Google Analytics. All right. Now under settings, this is the very last thing we'll cover. Obviously, we are pointing to the Barleys Beans address. We've got our site title. Really, all this information you don't have to worry about. But if you want to give a cookie notification to people that you use cookies, you can turn that off and on. Really not that important. The only important sides is like SEO. SEO is really important to help with the search engines. So you'll want to click on SEO, and you can actually go in and edit your footer code, which is where we'll put the Google Analytics, your keywords, coffee, ground. That way, if anybody's doing a Google search, it'll just help them find your page. There's also the availability to create a member section. So if you want to have specific pages within the website that are only available to members only, this is where you would do that. You could set up all your individual members by adding a member, putting in their email address and all their contact information, and then you would select whatever pages that are going to be only visible to a member, which that's where you would go into pages. You would change the visibility option to being membership required. Okay, now the very last thing is once you make any changes, anything to the website, it's going to save anything you do to the website. It'll save it, so if the power would go out, all of your savings are going to still be on there. The only difference basically is that it's not going to publish it to everybody in the public. So basically you could work on this for 3 or 4 days, and I am not going to be able to see your changes until you hit publish. Once you hit the orange publish, it'll save all those settings and push the website to the servers. When we click on Barley's Beans, then you can check out your website and look at all the different settings and the different changes that you've made to it. Okay, well, now that I'm out of breath, and that was a lot to cover, but we got to do it in less than an hour. Hopefully the video will help you out. If you guys get stuck, feel free to give me a call either on the cell phone or call the office number during the day. Be glad to help you out. Or once we get together again, I can sit down and kind of show you some things if it was confusing. But hopefully we covered everything really well for you. The rest of it is pretty self-explanatory, and you can just kind of explore and check it out. All right, guys, thanks again for being a client and being good friends of ours. I'm excited that we've got the website up and running, and just excited for you guys to start getting some sales on it. So be sure to go ahead and add Square into your settings, under the store tab, and then you're good to go. All right, have a great weekend.